finally here. So we have the High Plains Drifter tier on the Hell on the High Plains Kickstarter. So this was billed as everything we've printed for Deadlands up until this point in time. So now I funded this thing in March of last year, so it's been a little bit. There was a little bit of a shipping container crisis. Really excited to crack this thing open. I'm gonna put up on the screen everything that is supposed to come with this. Every single product you buy from Pinnacle, you're gonna get the digital rewards as well. The reason I'm getting all of this now is because I used to be traveling a lot, and for a very, very long time I was a digital only GM. So now that I'm settling down and staying in one place, I've decided, it's finally time to really invest and build up my Deadlands collection. So we're just gonna crack this thing open. Let's get started. Oh yeah. All right, there's a lot to load here. All right. Oh my God. Let's just go. We're gonna just go in order here. First up, this was something that I was really looking forward to. It was in the original Deadlands Kickstarter. I'm so happy that they still had these in stock, because I'm pretty sure when they were doing that first Kickstarter, they said that it was like a while supplies last kind of thing. So let's get this thing open. I'm 100% keeping this case too, because look at that. Wow. There you have it. That is the Deadlands Marshal's badge that you can feel free to pin to yourself. I have been marshalling Deadlands for since 2018, so about 5 years. I've been running Savage Worlds for about 10 years. I think I'm just going to keep this on for the rest of the video, honestly, because this is gorgeous. It is got a good weight to it. It is really heavy, really nice. I think I would stand out a little bit better on a maybe a different color shirt, but I'm really loving that thing. That is gorgeous. That is really nice. And yeah, I'm 100% keeping that box. That is a fine piece of work right there. All right. So, the Hell on the High Plains map right here. So this is not the full West. Oh God, okay. That's staying in though. That's staying in the video a little bit. So here we go. This is everywhere you could possibly want to go in the new book. I really like, because the first map they came out with for the whole West did not have all these little cities in between. So you really get all things that aren't just a major rail hubs like Denver. You really got every single little thing in between there, and each one of these little points has like a point in the book. They have Savage Tales taking place there and all of that type of stuff, so you can really get sort of a sense of scale from where you can get to and from where, not just with rail lines but rivers and other stuff too. I want to see, for a while they had Coffin Rock in Colorado. I think they took it off, but that is one of my favorite settings. They do have Houston Hill though. The Houston Hill box set is in here. It is coming up. So that's gorgeous, and that is a great little thing that you can really just, you can slap that out to your players and have them look at that sort of in real time, do some real Lewis and Clark shit. This right now is empty, but that is heavy duty magnetic case right there. Oh, what is that? They got a little gift in here. Right, that is a Devil's Tower wild die. It's got nice dice like these. I often will hand out to my players as conviction as well. This box, I believe, is for the archetype cards. Snaps really satisfyingly, and it's just looks really good on your table. That little ribbon to get stuff out when it's deep in there. That is awesome. I'm so glad they snuck that in there. Let's maybe grab some archetype cards and see how they go. So, Pinnacle, unlike other RPG companies we're not going to talk about, won't, send the Pinkertons to your house if you have their cards in your home, except, oh wait, yes they did. We have a Pinkerton agent right here. I think this is set 3 or 4, so we're going to hold off on that one. So this is set, I want to say 2 or 3. Wrangler, Buffalo Hunter, Ranch Hand. I think these are the ones that came with Blood Drive. It was after they said something like, well, we want more regular rules, less arcane types or something like that. So these are a lot of just regular inhabitants of the West. You've got your Desperado, Pistolero, the Wandering Preacher. These three, I handed them out to some players as a test game, and I was like, okay, cool, so now you know Deadlands, come make your own character. And those three players all said, no, I'd rather keep my archetype card and just make a few changes to their backstory. So these are really, really well-rounded characters. They all come out as seasoned. I think the first set, they all come out as novice, but for the rest of them, they all come out as seasoned. So you have a good amount of stuff to work with in terms of your characters feel well-rounded. Because sometimes, especially in earlier levels in Savage Worlds, players playing arcane types, they have a lot of stuff to do on their sheet, and they have a lot of options, and your average sort of gunslingers and stuff, not as much. So these guys, they've got a lot going on. So this Ranger, for instance, she's got all of her gear and all that stuff. Some of these guys have, like this person has, this ranch hand here, she's got 4 edges, so being a seasoned character right from the start, you really feel like I'm here, I'm powerful, I'm an inhabitant of this world, I know what's up. So this is going to bug some people, but I'm going to start putting these in the box, which will leave them out of order in terms of their release order, but that's just what we're doing. Now that I'm opening this might have been the one that came with Blood Drive. They were not labeled. But again, really, really high quality card that you can just, if you're, so again, because you get every single asset that you buy from Pinnacle digitally as well. I've had these for a while and I've printed them out. Yeah. Oh man, the Metal Mage. What a sassy man. But you can, have maybe a whole set, maybe just a curated set of these at a con game or dealing with new players or whatever, and you just slap them right in there. Oftentimes I will write up a backstory and give them a name, but leave the character mostly unaltered. Maybe just give them a couple tweaks. Like one time I made just one character harrowed and got rid of something else. And now that there's 4 sets out, you can mix and match. There's 4 sets, and I think there's also a set for Headstone Hill that has 4 of these, and each of these sets has 12. So a lot of diversity, and you can run the same adventure with different casts of heroes. If you're the type of person who does a lot of con games or game store games or anything like that. This one I know for a fact was the most recent set, because that's when you started getting into some of these more advanced roles. I think the first Hex Slinger was in here. Yeah. No, that's not true actually, but this is, I don't think this was the first one. But, oh yeah, Gun Nun. Gun Nun is one of my favorite archetypes in Deadlands. She is hilarious. Before this card was even out, I had a Gun Nun in one of my games. Her name was Sister Abigine, and she was a beast. Shout out to Rania, one of the best players I've had at 3 or 4 of my tables over the years at this point. Again, really, really high quality art, and you've got the you've got hindrances that make sense, that are easy to kind of sink down into. You've got enough edges that you get a sense for the character, and at the same time, their backstory, completely open book. You can kind of fill in with whatever you want, and if you're a game master, you can, if you're running a pre-made adventure, you're running an adventure that you ran, that you wrote, you can, just kind of pick and choose what type of things you want in your game. And of course, these are only archetypes, right? They don't have names, so you're free to gender bend or do anything you want to make your characters comfortable. So again, 3 sets fit very nicely in there. When I find the other archetype cards, I will definitely slap those in there because these are gorgeous. Chase deck. This is a newer thing. I think this was from this Kickstarter. I have done the print and play version of this brand maybe twice. It's a good quality reusable box. The instructions are in there. You also get them as a PDF. Yeah, the reason they made these is that the chase rules for Savage Worlds are extremely generic on purpose, because you need the same set of rules for foot chases, spaceship chases, long naval combats, all that stuff. But when you really want to distill it down into something that is not overwhelming your players, especially newer players with a ton of options, you just deal them a card. It just takes out all that extra stuff and only has foot chases, horse chases, and I guess foot chases on a train. and just the options in there, and plot events that only apply to those situations, which is really, really cool. For instance, tunnel. If you're on a train, all attacks this round suffer -4 darkness illumination penalty. Or detached car. Those really specific situations. And again, really, really nice art. A lot of this is in the book. Some of these art pieces are from previous editions of Deadlands, I believe. Because like this, I think that's from an older supplement. I really, really love these. I love that you could also just use them as a normal deck of cards if you really wanted to. They're shiny, they're glossy, they're really, really nice. And there is some space in there, so if you wanted to sleeve them, they would still fit. I might do that a little bit later. Keeping it with cards for a second, we're gonna do the oversized action deck. I have them for my Roll20 game. They're gorgeous, but when you're in Roll20, you don't actually see the faces of all the cards that you're using. You just sort of see the values and stuff, and I think what you're really missing out on is something awesome here. So look at that. That is amazing. That is so gorgeous. Wow. And there he is. There's Stone, the man himself. That is really, really nice. These jokers are gorgeous. Oh my God. Huge. Shuffling these is going to be a little bit difficult. And I have the PNGs of these, but I never noticed that you have these little names on them of the names of these characters. Velvet Van Helter. That's Raven. So there's some really fun. There's Reverend Grimm. Who we got here? Wyatt Earp. Iconic mustache. Morgan Lash. Oh, from the Cackler. And Hellstrom himself. There you go. So you got all 4 servitors as the aces in there. You got 2 gorgeous jokers. And the way that... Oh, this is a little bit different because on the in the digital version, the card symbols are like in a circle, but these are a little bit more traditional layout. But they're still really, really nice. And I don't think the camera's picking this up, but there is sort of a Day of the Dead style skull in a very, very dark gray that is very, very hard to see. But they're very, very nuanced and very, very tough. And yeah, that is an amazing deck to have sitting on your table right there. That is so good. That is awesome. I'm just gonna do this a quick shuffle for the ASMR people out there. Perfect. Yeah, that is a little bit difficult. They're just huge. Nice. Who is that? Billy the Kid. There he is. That's awesome. All right. That is amazing. Pinnacle, man, they do not spare any expense in terms of those, high quality card and stuff like that. There was one Kickstarter, I don't remember what it was, but they delayed it because they couldn't get the high quality stuff they wanted to print on. All right, a couple of maps. We have every single map. I think these are all, they're not in order. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Printed out my own versions of these. I might do a little bit of a comparison from the sort of professionally printed versions versus the ones that you do at home. All right, so here we go. Prospector's Camp. I have never bought a map from Pinnacle before, so let's check that out. It's got a little sleeve. There you go. Cool thing I love about Savage Worlds is that the grid is mostly optional, so the grid on this map doesn't really overwhelm the whole thing. It's very subtle, kind of blends into the background, so that if you're the type of person who's using rulers and a little bit less traditional movement and blast templates and stuff like that, you can still, it doesn't distract it. I've always said as a game master, maps make people kind of dumb. I like to run theater of the mind most of the time. Oftentimes you get some players who are into the more tactical aspects of things, and they're like, well, here's our set of pawns, here's their set of pawns, we're just gonna roll dice until everybody's dead. It's harder to do objective-based things, and it's harder to make people be a little bit more creative. I'm gonna put this back in the sleeve. I don't know if I'm gonna store it like that forever, but it will help me know which is which if they're sitting on a shelf or something, which is really, really cool. Let's do Boomtown next. I'm bad at opening things. Can you tell this is my first unboxing video? Okay, that's why the jacket exists for these town maps. It'll tell you what everything can be used for. So we got a saloon over here, small corral, a lot of blood stains down here. I wonder what's going on over there. yeah, all these little miners' tents and all that stuff. Check the other side real quick. This is more the outskirts of town. You have the tents on the edge. I like how dingy it is. I like how, you know, how dingy it kind of feels, how big and empty, and how, you know, these things are not necessarily going to provide the best cover. These tents with the, you know, sort of obscured interiors. You know, you could have bad guys pop out of there. You could do a lot of stuff with that. That's really awesome. All right, so we got Ambush Pass. This is the next one. I hope somebody loves that sound because I hate it. I think these are able to be used with dry and wet erase markers. I'm not 100% sure if you can quote me on that. Big, empty sort of wilderness map. Probably good for High Plains, Southwest. You could drop that in a lot of different locales, really. And something that I like about having the digital assets for these too, for all these maps, is I've got a couple that have been printed really nicely. I've also done a couple that I printed on normal paper. And if you wanted, you could cut out individual buildings and throw them on a blank backdrop like this one and kind of arrange a town in however you want. When I got all these open, I'm gonna see if I can lay a couple out and see how well they line up together. If you can have one continuous main street. All right, so this is end of the line. Oh yeah, this one I really love. I've used pieces of this a lot. I like the corner saloon. I had a great shootout in front of the courthouse as an intro adventure for my people. My last in-person table. And I've been running mostly online since the pandemic and even before, but I did have this map printed up and I'm super excited to see what it looks like. It is a nice corner saloon. In the courthouse, you got gallows here, wagon maker. That is awesome. Another smaller saloon. You know, seeing them in person, you got those really fine details that are really, really nice. You got, you know, place settings on the table. You have light coming in through the windows. House plants. You can see the individual keys on the piano and writing on the paper. Like, it's really, really nice. Of course, you got half the train tracks up here. All right, Boot Hill. This is another really good one. I get a lot of mileage out of this and these buildings, but now I can finally just pull it off my shelf and drop it wherever. So what do we got here? Corral, boarding house, another saloon. Oh, this one's got the graveyard, which I really like, and the water tower, a blacksmith. I think this is the only one that has a graveyard on it, which is really, really fun. You throw some undead in there, or just, you know, have it on the map every single time the players are on Main Street. Be like, yep, there's a graveyard right there, and then be paranoid about it, and then you can have ultimately nothing happen about it, which, I don't know, maybe that's just how I game master. Blacksmith is very, very detailed. You can see the light coming out of that, so it's awesome. And then a sort of big open area, you got a barn. That is gorgeous. This is some really, really good stuff here. And I like how all the main streets kind of look the same, and you got one coming off the edge each time, so you could lay a bunch of these maps together, and I'm 100% about to do that. All right, this was the first one they made. Grand Saloon. All right, so the Grand Saloon is that one there, taking up half the map. On that side, you got a newspaper office and a bank and a marshal's office. The other side has another bank, an undertaker, jail. I think a jail is really, really important to have. But if your characters are in a bigger town, so my last in-person Deadlands table, they were in Topeka for most of it. And we had the rendered herd from Hell on the High Plains come right down Main Street. Players on the balconies and on the walkways and all these places. They were saving civilians. They were shooting the crap out of this thing. They couldn't hurt it. They had to pile a lot of ghost rock together and blow it the fuck up. It was awesome. This is gorgeous. And you got all these beds in this saloon here. You have a performance stage. So this is the jail, or the marshal's office rather. I think. It's got a couple cells in there, and that's the bank. You've got a vault right here. When I run tabletop combats, I don't want them to just be, here's our guys, here's your guys, shoot each other until one side is dead. I want there to be objectives. I want there to be a story reason why this combat needs to happen. Why do you need to solve this problem with violence? We need to get to a place, we need to save a person, we need to kill a specific person. And so these maps really lend themselves to that. We need to break someone out of jail or stop them from doing that. I think there's a Headstone Hill, Savage Tale, where you're trying to interfere with a jailbreak with one of the gangs. I ran Headstone Hill a while back, but it was only online. All right, so I'm gonna try to lay out a couple of these maps here, see what goes with what. All right, so let's say, there you got your train tracks. So that's where you come into town, right? So yeah, in terms of color tone, they all match up really well. Maybe I'll throw the Grand Saloon on there too, because that seems like something you should encounter basically right away. It's really, really nice. And then maybe you could throw that back alley, have that match up into maybe there. You can throw those on there. And then the pawns are really, really gonna pop on these, which I'm super excited about. Let's just put the Grand Saloon back in there. Here is Hell on the High Plains. That is what this Kickstarter was all about. These books, they are so high quality. You know, reference map right there. It's all Game Master stuff. There's not a ton in here for players, other than gorgeous, gorgeous art. They go state by state. Well, there are relics, so these are things that you can give to your players, rather, and a lot of fun new baddies. We got some awesome pre-made adventures in here. That is gorgeous. And again, I love that the art incorporates the characters that you see in the archetype cards. Oh my god, it has ribbons. Oh my god, I didn't know that. What? Oh, nice. 3 bookmarks here, all in various sort of blood tones. You've got red, orange, and brown. Man, if that's not Deadlands, I don't know what is. This is shout out to this mini campaign that's in the Dakota territory there, because that is awesome. I read through that whole thing. It's amazing. The idea that the Great Summoning is canon in the new world of Deadlands, but there might be a way to undo it and sort of destabilize that whole area again. And then if you think about the ripples that could have all the way into like Hell on Earth, but it's really well set up. You can kind of go at it in any order that you want, or any order that your players want, rather. You know, the clues all kind of interlock in a way that doesn't force them down anything, but leaves them sort of wanting more. So that's what I have to say about that. I mean, obviously there's 6 territories in here. Colorado, I think, is extremely, extremely detailed. I ran most of my last campaign in Kansas. I moved some stuff around. So shout out to the Empire Rail Bridge Disaster Adventure, which is really, really interestingly set up. It uses combat rounds, but it's not a combat, and it's not a dramatic task. It's something else entirely, where you're in rounds, but your players need to split into 2 or 3 groups. It was so fun. It was so fun as an adventure for people who have never played an RPG before, because they just had to sort of leap into action, and their characters hadn't met each other. It was awesome. So I highly, highly recommend that adventure in particular. That is sort of the headliner of this Kickstarter, but that is not the headliner of this box. So we're gonna get going here. Really quick here, these are some gear cards. I've never used gear cards, but I might now. Let's see, we got the Armored Vest, Grease Lightning Pills, Healing Unguent, I don't know. I like the design on this one a lot. I like the snake oil sort of design. You know, I like the really campy looking stuff, the really campy looking bubbles, not bubbles, bottles, and all that stuff. The owl eye goggles there, real steampunky. I like that box of pills too. This is a little like high fantasy for me personally, but so these are really nice, and you can just kind of throw those at your players so they don't have to go looking in the book. Like, yeah, you want my health potion? Come take it from me before I drink it. Now we're gonna do this first. Weird West Pawns 2. That is amazing. That is amazing. Look at this. And I guess we're gonna start with number 2. Let's get set 1 first. All right. Nice box. And here are the really nice cardstock pawns. Here, oh, they even tell you what they all are. You can keep track of who's who and what's what. So right off the bat, what I really love about these is that every pre-made character archetype that you get is also a figure flat that you get. So I think this is the first 2 sets of character archetypes, and just slap them down on the board and be in the game right away. But yeah, you got a lot of duplicates for outlaws, which is awesome. Native warriors, cavalry officers, and Walking Dead, all those things that you need a good like horde of are there. A bunch of gremlins, and even the character tokens. If you're the ones that you don't use, you're free to, you know, have those populate your world, whether they're wild cards or not. And everything is double-sided. So these Walking Dead up here, I really, really love. Somebody had to go in and draw this guy's butt a bunch of times and then format it to line up with his front. So shout out to that art person. If you're just drawing the back sides of tokens all day, you know, we appreciate you, because you're making this world feel way more real. All right, well, the Glom is coming to attack me. Let's get that set up. In fact, I drop a Glom into a lot of games that I run, whether it's Deadlands or not. Now that is intimidating AF. I mean, especially when you compare it to the size of these guys. You know, you got one of those rolling down the street towards you, you might run the other way. Now, the question is, once these are all punched out, how well are they all gonna fit in the box? And that is not something we're gonna solve today. So, oh, here's the big guys. Ooh. Ooh. All right, that Rattler. Wow. Got a lot of spare bases down here for maybe your zombies or whatever. You got horses. And me personally, I like horses as a flat on the table and you can put your character on top of the horse. These guys just wanna be popped out. I might do a couple of those at the end. Okay, we have 5 Hellstrom automatons and 5 werewolves and 3 wendigos and only 1 hanging judge, but that's okay because you only really need one of those. And of course, all the stat blocks are in the core book, which we will get to. Pawns 2. There we go. Gun nun there, the female agent, and the double wielding hex slinger. Let's see what we got in here. All right, so this is a lot of stuff from Hell on the High Plains. Again, we have a guide in here. We got a Chi Master here, we got a Huckster. We have all of those same characters. Let's just pull these guys out real quick. So, Sister of Mercy is here. Ruthless Gunslinger right here. So you can really just, you know, pull those guys out, have them kind of laying around. That's satisfying. I'm just gonna do that a couple more times. That's awesome. Oh, yes. Oh, I love that stuff. All right, there we go. So you got all those main characters there. A couple great wildcard bad guys here. The Succubus is here. Poison Woman. I think all of these guys are from Savage Tales in the new one. These guys are also from Savage Tales and Hell in the High Plains. We've got the Blind Mosasaurus here. We have some walking fossils. The bone horror is awesome. I don't know if there's been a really good like bone horror art before now. I love this guy too. I don't know what he's supposed to be, but you can do a lot with him. And then another crap load of undead and some Wichita witches, you know. We got some native ghosts, some native zombies, kind of either wolfmen or yetis, wendigos, whatever. And then we got some wild stock here, some livestock here. And then this is the stuff I really love. Little flats that you, oh yeah, we got horse flats that you can actually put your character on. See? And look, exactly what I wanted. That's awesome. It's really cool. Oh, and they're double-sided. Oh my God. They got different backgrounds and they're like slightly different color-wise too. These tents, same thing. Anything that you can, any flats like this, scraggly trees, tents, wagons, all that stuff that you can put down on a map and really make it your own. You know, anything that you can do to make it just sort of not just the out of the box thing, but really make it your own is really, really fun for me. So that is gorgeous. These, I believe, are from Blood Drive. So I'm really excited to read through the new one. It is the sort of gold standard of adventures to sort of introduce new players to the game. Kind of a grab bag here because we've got a couple of these. Again, these are the character archetypes. You got some of these gunslingers and the female rangers there. I don't know who this guy is, but he's awesome. This guy's also awesome. He looks completely badass. But then you got a couple duplicates here. You got some werewolves, normal wolves, longhorns, another Hellstrom automaton there. You know, so you can really fill out your ranks. A couple more horses, bunch more steers, all that. Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm assuming these are all related to plot points within Blood Drive. We're just gonna check if any of these will fit in any of the other previous boxes. That's all right. That's all right. We're just gonna hold those there for now. All right, we're almost done. And we've got the 2 big boxes left. So let's have a quick look at the companion book. You got your full map here. I'd say the first maybe third of it is player friendly. You have, I think, 4 new sort of character backgrounds here. You've got new Herod stuff, then there's US Marshals, Metal Mages, new Voodoo stuff, and Witches. And then the rest of it is Game Master stuff. So you've got a lot of information that sort of lets you speed run the first 4 plot point campaigns if you never ran those. I've not run through all of them. I use a large part of them because they go really deep into those specific areas, but I never ran them start to finish. So those story things, what's important, what's canon, what's not, you know, Grim is dead, there's 2 stones, etc., all that stuff. Then the Horse Eater adventure, which is in the back, I did run that online a while ago. it's pretty good. The Horse Eater is really good. We got bogged down trying to buy salt from a guy. It was hilarious. I love this. I like the more understated cover. Deadlands Horror to be a little bit more subtle than that. So, all right, Crater Lake Chronicles, another thing that I've never read. So this is a single player adventure, which I do not know a ton about. This is something I've never done, and I don't know if I ever will, honestly. I'm kind of a forever game master, but this might be an opportunity to take a couple of these character concepts that I've thought about playing. That is a gorgeous art piece. Look at that. Wow. All right, this might make me want to play this, actually. Crater Lake's a real place with some real folklore, real ghost stories around it, and I do love the Americana aspect to Deadlands. Let me see, we got an airship anchored here. We got some tentacles in the water. Got some more tentacles in the water. There's a lot going on here. I wonder if there's a way to adapt this to an adventure that you could run for a party. Wow, look at this. You got Marshall's Bennies, Heroes Bennies, notes. There's a full character sheet there for you. You can photocopy it. Weird West options. I wonder what that is. Okay. That's something that definitely needs more looking into. But again, I mean, if you pick this up, and whether it's hardback or not, you can get the PDF with it, and that might be something to check out if you are curious about Deadlands, but not really sure what type of character you want to play or what the world is really like, a single-player adventure. I think it'd be awesome. And if you're the type of person who kind of likes game mastering, I think, and you kind of want to fill in those blanks yourself, I think that's the type of thing that would be good for that. All right, so this is Blood Drive. I think the whole thing is in one book. The last Blood Drive, it was 3 separate parts. I like how some of the art is still in there. Bartholomew Phelps, that is an amazing name. All right, okay, cool. Here, look, here's the Chisholm Trail. Nope, the Goodnight Loving Trail. There we go. From what I've heard, a lot of people's favorite way to introduce new people to the setting. I mean, look at that. I mean, if that doesn't scream Deadlands, I don't know what does. You've got all of Hellstrom's stuff here. You've got a huckster, you got a gunslinger, like just fending him off. I love that. I love that so much. That's a great map right there. Whether you choose to blow it up or use it digitally or whatever, that is awesome. Wow, all right, I don't know who this man is, but I would love to throw him at my bad guys because he's awesome. I'm 99% sure we have, there's Jay Goodman. We have minis for at least those first two. I'm gonna read that in a later time because that looks really, really interesting. Here's our 3 mini books here. We have those. Let's get on to the main event here. All right, the 2 box sets. These are what came in the original Deadlands Kickstarter. Eeny, meeny, miny. This one, let's talk about horror at Headstone Hill. I ran this digitally. This was actually the first thing that I ran when I was learning how to use online VTTs. It is very detailed, very sandboxy, and my players did not want any of that. They basically speedrun the main story, just kind of made enemies everywhere they went, solved every problem with their guns. Not that it wasn't fun, but this world is so fleshed out and so well written in the way that all of these pieces, optional and otherwise, sort of interlock and send you off on these different tangents. You meet so many interesting characters. I'm really, really interested to run it again at some point. There we go. Oh, we got even more flats. So right off the bat, got a couple flats. And some of these guys are really, really iconic. I really love this tree here. I think it's called like a skull crusher or something, but it pulls off the heads and they stay in these sacks and sort of ferment. Up here, we got a couple awesome wild cards here. We got Debney, who's, spoilers, the actual villain of the piece. Heaston. These are the archetype cards that came with this set, so hopefully they're in here. All double-sided. You got all the replicants and all the bloody ones? I think they're called bloody ones. Grimm's guys. There are things. I might set up that tree later. Oh, all right. So 4 more archetype cards, again, all seasoned, all completely interchangeable with the ones we already had. There you go. But I mean, they are specific to Wyoming and sort of the way around Heaston Hill. I think these types of characters they very much help you running that campaign if your characters fit into these kind of roles. Prospector, dealing with all the minor stuff, the mountain man, not necessarily in Heaston Hill, but sort of the surrounding areas in Wyoming. Can't remember the names of all the towns right now. We're about to find out when we pull that map. Having a harrowed huckster or an alchemist, anyone who can really get down into the town, start interacting with the locals, selling them stuff, playing cards, any of that stuff, it really pushes the story forward, so that's really, really cool. We're just gonna slot those guys right in there into that amazingly well-made box. Aspen Skull Trap, there we go. My players in when I ran Histon Hill could not beat this guy. They saddled everybody up on their horses and just shot a couple things at it and ran away. They did not stand a chance. They did. They just didn't believe they did. Match them up with your pawns, really, really high quality. Just keep those with all your GMing stuff, and you don't need to worry about looking up books. A couple of the more iconic enemies that you run into during the campaign. This isn't all of them, of course. I mean, you face off against a couple really fun outlaw gangs. You can even fight Hellstrom's people if you're, you know, particularly suicidal. Bogwater Bill, again, that's one of those things I never really got to run, but his story is so interesting. Throw him right there. And the cool thing about that is I believe his relic is on there too, so that's something you can maybe give to your characters as a trophy when they take his weapon, because that is, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, but every relic in Deadlands is. There we go. I just love that magnetic box. That is probably my favorite thing right now. I might try to get sleeves for these. If they make 3x5 sleeves, gorgeous. When I ran this, I was on Roll20 for the first time, but if you look at this, you know, you can give someone a pop-up or a Discord notification, but look at that. That is like real, like old-timey newspaper paper. Look at that. Oh my God. That is a real, like 1800s photograph. These are all sort of in character, like in-game newspaper articles for companies, for ads, for clues, for all types of stuff. So they are labeled, and I know that you give them out at certain times. I think some of them are sort of a primer. When they know they're going to Headstone Hill, you can give them the sort of primer on the area and have them decide how they want to go about things or make the character. There you go. You got a deed here. No, that is, what is that? That is stock. That is a certificate of ownership of stock. You have, oh, that is awesome. Okay, so you have a telegraph here, which is a clue as part of the adventure, but also you have a blank one. You may not know this, but it's really hard to find a blank form-fillable telegram online, and that's something I've tried to do for this, for rippers, for all types of stuff. So I can just take this, photocopy it. I can have as many of these nice, worn, weathered, old-timey. They're even, look, the damage to it, the sort of weatheredness is even on the back side. So you can just take a nice paper cutter, separate that, either write whatever you want in here. Don't forget to photocopy it first. You can have telegrams for whatever you want. Just, you know, Dear John, you know, plot hook for this place at this location, you know, come to my town, clean up our problem. That is awesome. Anything to make your game more tactile makes me so happy. Giving your characters a physical clue. Look, you've got all these different diary entries that you can cut out. I think that's the code to the safe or something. Any little diary entries, you can just cut them out, hand them to the players. They're going to be so much more invested in those clues. It's going to feel like it came from a real person, which is what I really, really love. Here we go. You went to county map. There you go. Histon Hill down here. You've got the trails here. Got all the rivers. This is awesome. You can throw that up there. Give that to your players on their way in. And then, look at that. Fully colored. That's amazing. You got a map key down here. I don't know how you would do this, but maybe hide the key and have them go into different buildings to realize what they were, or at least go down the street, see what they're labeled as. But a lot of them are like private residences and other stuff, like stuff your characters would have no way of knowing without visiting first. That's really, really awesome. And then they can put their actual character marker on the map, you know, if they want to go visit certain stores, you know, if you want to go to Histon's house and fuck them up, because my players did try to do that at one point. It didn't go great for them, but you know, you could try. That is awesome. All right, Twilight events. This is something specific to that campaign, but it is something that I would really, really love to see in retaliatory events that happen each time your players lower the fear level. If your players score a victory, you draw from this, I believe, and they do different things. This one triggers different Savage Tales that are in the book. Some of them are good. An allied extra joins your party, but a lot of them don't. Famine, death, blind terror, angry skies, yellow journalism, war, rising dread, and pestilence. They're all ways that the forces of darkness will strike back against your party. Such a cool mechanic, and the fact that they can trigger Savage Tales that are in Histon Hill, you know, so you can really send them out and have them explore that world. Really, really well-written adventure. So here's your character's introduction. This gives them a lot. A couple of the places they should know about, their restaurants and saloons and stuff like that, but it doesn't give them everything by any means. Some of the big players around town, rumors. I love doing that. Like, I mean, giving them a newspaper clipping is great, but just having them come in and be like, look, especially if it's a new table, just be like, look, there's some rumors around. Decide what you want to go after. You know, go into town already knowing this in mind. As a GM, be like, I'm not going to spoon feed you here. Like, you come here and create the story with me. Come meet me in the middle. Tell me what your character is going to be interested in, and I can plan around that. And that's really cool. So if you're like, okay, well, I'm a bounty hunter, so what are the bounties out and who are they on? You can just tell them. We've got the Ghost Steel Gang, Sage Dragons, the Little Rock Irregulars. You know, just be like, those are 3 gangs, here's where they hang out, and then from there go. And then here's the actual adventure. You got another copy of the map in there. Ooh, I love this guy. I don't know if he's linked to a particular adventure, but he's just gorgeous. So you've got all the stuff the players need, and of course all the stuff beyond that. You have the whole gazetteer, that's probably not how you pronounce that. Another copy of the map if you're a game master and you gave yours to somebody else. I just love the little bits of art, especially the ones that aren't connected to adventures, that just sort of establish kind of like what this world is. So here's the main story. This is another one of those, it's a great art piece here of a man-eating piano, and it's just like so specific and so weird, but Deadlands really pulls that type of stuff off. Yeah, and then you got all the Savage Tales in there. Bogwater Bill, that is something I really wanted to run that my players never really were interested in doing. So the next time I run this, I'm 100% gonna force them to go after Bogwater Bill, whether they want to or not, because that is such a good idea. The story is really interesting. And then you got your rascals in the back. You have all of your stuff, and then I think new copies of your handouts in case you lose them. That is awesome, but I really love having it's got everything you need if you just want this thing or if you just have the PDF, but having the verisimilitude of these really like nice physical handouts is amazing. So here we have a Headstone Hill wild die or a conviction die or whatever you want to use that for. Really, really nice. I think I'm just going to slot that in with my other new wild die. Boop. Any excuse to open and close that magnet thing again. So I love that. Alrighty, that is Headstone Hill. Perfect. All right. Deadlands box set. Deadlands the Weird West, partners. That is amazing. My favorite thing about the new Deadlands on a sort of production level is that there's not a separate Players and Game Masters book. If you're ready to make the jump and sort of invest in Deadlands, you buy one book. It's got everything you need as a player, and it's got everything you need as a game master. It's got your bestiary, it's got plot hooks, it's got all that stuff, all the character creation stuff. It's all in one book. PDF is like $10, maybe $20. And that'll take you far. It'll take you as far as you need to go. Really well organized in here. I don't know what to go after first, honestly. This stuff is so good. Oh my God. Let's start with the poster map. We're not gonna rip this one. And if I edit out ripping the first one, they won't even know. Here we go. All right, there's your Weird West. I really love that under either plastic or glass on your table constantly, and everything you do is just over this. Before I had this, I would put this map up on a TV behind me. I was really lucky enough to be able to game master in a nice conference room. I was able to throw visual aids like this map or the map of Kansas that was in Hell in the High Plains up on the TV behind me. I've taken much better care of that than I did the first one. All right, let's dive on into this. Already I'm noticing this spacer here, which is a good sign. They design extra space into these on purpose so that you can throw some of the stuff from other supplements. I think in this case that you are able to fit the companion at least into the box. Yeah, so that fits no problem. And then blood drive can also fit in there. Hell on the High Plains. Just a little bit over the top when you have the companion in there as well, but you could theoretically take that out. Have that fit pretty nice and flush. So it's all up to you. You keep any of your books in there, you could keep none of your books in there. But I mean, these 3 are the main ones for sure. I mean, the companion, a lot of character stuff in there, but I mean, Hell on the High Plains, that's something that you're gonna need with you. If your players surprise you and go in a new direction, you know, there's always fresh stuff to throw at them in that book, and that's why you don't need to feel like you're improvising and be like, oh, you find 1d6 outlaws, they have ambiguous motives. Like, no, you can throw a real Savage Tale at them really, really quickly. I love improv GMing, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. That's the thing. Some stuff is really nice and prepared for you, and you can make it seem like, you know, they're discovering stuff organically. So here we got the power cards. These are all cards that are specific to Deadlands or maybe updated for Deadlands in the case of these 2. But these are awesome. So I don't own the suede version of these, so I don't have all the powers right now. These are the only power cards I have. I mean, I have the print and play ones that I make on demand for my players. Definitely gonna sleeve those. Let's go now. Adventure deck and gear cards. So So what do we got here for gear? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gear cards here. I forget where my first bunch were. Oh, let's get those. Couple of consumables, couple of weird science gadgets. These ones are mechanical mule, electrostatic belt, epitaph camera, all really high pricey ones. Rocket pack, flamethrower, and Gatling gun, steam Gatling. I think this is the stationary one. These are really nice. It saves you a lot of time looking up. I wish there was a dynamite card personally, because the rules for dynamite are hard to remember. Looking up in the book in the middle, how much dynamite does how much damage. It's a little interesting. Adventure cards supplement your deck. Again, I'm only using sort of the print and play version of the Suede Adventure deck right now. Just Lucky, I guess, lets your players reroll a crit fail. I leave that in even when I'm not using this deck for Deadlands purposes. I used that in my Pine Box Middle School actual play, but I do like the ones that are really specific to the world. So coming back Harrowed, drawing extra cards when you're dealing with a devil. I love that flavor text right here. It says, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Really, really high quality. All right. Last set, which is the first set. My impression was that the first set were all novice characters, and then all sets after that were seasoned. But this guy says seasoned. Yep, these guys are all seasoned. So essentially, these are all new characters to me. They're all ranked up a little bit. Yep, he's got investigator. I don't think he had that the first go around. So these are all your staples of the genre. You got your agent, your blessed, she-master, explorer, gunslinger. She's got the double gun. She's got she's got duelist, marksman, steady hands, two-gun kid, ambidextrous, and gallows humor. So 6 edges for a starting character. So like what I really like is that your characters aren't going to feel overshadowed by characters like the huckster and the hexslinger, you know, because the hexslinger, you know, she gets ammo whammy, which in and of itself is like 6 powers, you know what I mean? So you really want your characters playing these mundane characters, you know, when not everybody can be an arcane character. To really feel capable, really feel like they contribute something, and that's why I really love some of these early guys. And of course the agent, despite being sort of a stealth, like infiltrator and gatherer of information, he really brings a lot of firepower to the table. So when you're running a con game or whatever, everybody really plays their part. Everybody will have something to do. That's what I really, really love. You're not just waiting back for your wizards or whatever to do a shitload of damage and stuff. I love that there's a shaman in here. Not enough people, I think, willing to sort of take the dive and play the Native American characters, but I think Deadlands Posse without at least one Native American character misses out on so much lore, misses out on so many opportunities when you don't have at least one in your party. And they all fit. Room to spare. Could sleeve them. Last couple things to tuck into in this box. Of course, we have the core book. What is this? What is this? Wait. Okay, hold on. I didn't know this was in here. What is this? Oh, that is Showdown at Sundown. Oh, okay. I think this is the GM screen. Let's check it out. Oh, that comes with the inserts. It's not like an empty thing. You gotta print out your own stuff. That is right in there. Fear table is probably the most thing I need to look up the most, and then incapacitation and injury is probably second thing I need to look up the most. So that is awesome. Malfunction table is in here. Dealing with the devil is in here. Not just, you know, this is all your basic game mastering stuff, but having your Deadlands specific stuff on your screen is really nice. I also love it's not super tall, so it doesn't really cut you off from your players a whole lot, but it keeps all your information here. I like to roll out in the open. I don't use screens unless I absolutely have to, especially since I usually have my laptop at the table and it's kind of beefy. Oh my god, okay. So you can kind of see actually the skull coming through the clouds. That is awesome. That is really, really cool. That is something like it could take your players maybe a couple sessions to notice, because they got a lot going on in front of them. All right, and then Showdown at Sundown. That is a quick little adventure. Maybe not, honestly. This is beefy. This has got a lot of stuff in there. Looks like Gaston's is the same as the Grand Saloon map pack, so you can throw that in there. I believe Showdown at Sundown also leads into Headstone Hill. Major players in the back. All right, well, of course, the main event here. Gorgeous art, really well organized. This whole No Man's Land section. You know, you can direct your players to be like, hey, all right, look, only read this bit, okay? You really get that little special bit, that lowdown. So especially if your character's like a shaman or a ranger or an agent, you know, they get a lot of information that other players kind of have to organically discover, and you're now part of the world. And so everything up through about here is for players. And then beyond here, you have Game Master stuff. This is all Marshall's territory. Plot hooks in there. They give you just enough to make you curious, and then you can kind of fill in the blanks on your own. Kind of this quick run around the West, and rail companies here, and all their logos. I don't think they all used to have logos, which made it hard as a Game Master when you're describing them, being like, okay, what colors do they wear? How can you tell what rail company someone is from a distance? Things like that. There he is. Oh my god. Love those guys. All right, there it is, core book. That is everything you need to run Deadlands other than the Suede rules. Again, PDF of that is mad cheap. But this is awesome. Obviously, you get a pip die for your wild Deadlands logo on there, so that is a grand total of 3 that we have from each set. All right, cool. Last couple things here. These counters. We go up to 20. You can use that ammunition, you can use that for PowerPoints, anything that you can use to make your game more tactile. Players need things to fidget with, but they also need things that, like, sort of just immerse them in the world. Bennies, these are great. They are a little heavier than the poker chips that I'm using right now. Here you go, so 25 bennies. That is awesome. These have a really good weight to them. They really hit the table really solidly. Last little thing. When I saw these online, I did not know they were going to be the oversized cards. I thought they were going to be a normal card deck. This is very dramatic. You know, you have a harrowed character. You could be like, here you go. Here's your tarot reading. Pick one. You get to find out if you're going to mess up the rest of your posse or not. Awesome. Mayhem. These are gorgeous. The art on these is awesome. Mayhem, magic, misfortune, murder, mischief, and malevolence. I love the concept of these. I love that it puts a little bit more control in the hands of the player in terms of when they want to use their hero powers. I could fit all these in the chase deck box. I think I'm going to do that for powers, adventure cards, and gear. So there it all is. That is the Hell on the High Plains. That is the High Plains Drifter tier in that Kickstarter. This is cost $500. This is easily more than $500 worth of stuff. Not just by retail value, but I mean just like how far this will take you. Forgot I was wearing this. It's a lot of stuff. I recommend literally every single thing that I opened tonight is super, super cool. The weight was well worth it. I will say that. The weight was easily worth it. This stuff is going to be in my house for the next, I'm going to say 20 years. This stuff is really built to last, and there's enough content in here to run, even if I never wanted to write my own adventures again, which I enjoy doing as the way I GM, but even if I didn't want to, there's enough Deadlands content here to run until I die. Yeah, that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. See ya.